Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stands. It never stops. News. Manchester United news. It's Manchester United against Chelsea preview, but we've also got some news coming in directly from Ruben Amorim. So look, Rude will be in charge for the Chelsea game. We'll look at how he might line up. We'll look at Chelsea and the threat they pose. Some very interesting stats around Chelsea and how good they are away from home. They're going to come and they're going to give us a game of football. There's no doubt about that. But let's talk about Ruben Amorim first. He's literally just done his Sporting Lisbon preview presser for their game tomorrow night. And this is what he had to say. It's a negotiation between two clubs. It's never easy, even with the clauses. It's never easy. They've got to talk, and we will have clarification after the game. It will be very clear. So it's one more day after the game tomorrow. We will have a decision made. And basically, he reiterated that. He was asked that in Portuguese, and then he was asked it by an English journalist who was actually at the game and said again, after tomorrow, everything will become clear. So I think in relation to Amorim, official announcement today, which many people thought might happen, is probably going to be tomorrow, if we're being completely honest. And to be honest as well, that leads into the Chelsea game, because that's the game we're here to preview. And the Amorim thing, I'm sure it will happen. I mean, God, imagine if it didn't happen and he said, I'm staying at Sporting, and then we gave Rude the job. Rude is at the wheel, tell me how. I mean, it even works. You don't even need to... I know Ollie was 2 syllables, but you could just do Rude is at the wheel. Yeah, you could still do it, couldn't you? So hopefully that won't happen. Anyway, not that I dislike Rude. I just don't want him to be the next manager of Manchester United. Right, let's get into the Chelsea game. Massive game for Manchester United. As we know, with regards to the Premier League table at the moment, I'm not going to put it up for you because it has to go onto 2 pages and, you know, life is too short for that. But in the Premier League at the moment, Chelsea are 5th place with 17 points and Manchester United sit in 14th place with 11 points. We are 6 points behind Chelsea. We have to win this game of football. There can be no excuses. There can be no, it's only an interim. We have to go. We have to win. It's not Leicester reserves. So can Manchester United do it? You know what? I'm sort of conflicted. Looking at the team I think he'll go with, obviously we had a few clues in relation to how we played against Leicester. I think that Mazraoui has to come in at left back, move Martinez to centre back. Lindelof worries me in a proper game of football against good opposition. So the back 5 would be that there. I would stick with the pivot of Ugarte and Casemiro. Obviously, Eriksen came into my mind because I was thinking about how he has played a lot, but he was injured. And also, why change something that really excited people? We liked that Casemiro and Ugarte pivot. Let's stick with it. Bruno played well with it as well, so let's stick with that. And then I think the front 3 becomes quite interesting. What would your front 3 be against Chelsea on Sunday? Garnacho for me on the left. Rasmus comes back in up front. I don't think Xerxes did anywhere near enough to keep Rasmus out. And I think Rasmus was actually probably kept out from fitness purposes just to keep him fresh as he's still coming back from injury. And then the big question is, who would you go on the right-hand side? I'm not going to be... look, I don't want to upset Marcus Rashford on his birthday. I'm actually going to pay him a compliment. He's better off the left and Ahmad's better than him off the right. So Ahmad starts on the right. Let's stop doing this square peg round holes. That's what we're doing here. It's like putting Bruno on the wing. I'm paying Marcus Rashford a compliment. He is not a right winger. He doesn't look like a right winger. And yes, he can put a good cross in because he's technically a very good player and he could score goals, but he's better off the left. In fact, I'd argue I think he's better up front than he is on the right. So either play Garnacho or Rashford, or start Garnacho and bring Rashford on after an hour, but start Ahmad on the right. Like, Ahmad is our best right winger. That's what I think we need to do in this game. Now, talking about Chelsea, a few interesting stats for you. They've played 4 games away from home this season. They're 5th in the league in relation to away form. The only loss they've had, they've won 3 games away from home. The only loss they've had was Liverpool. So they're a good team away from home. And I think that they're a team that obviously... I was looking at the lineup that played against Newcastle, not in the Carabao Cup, in the league game last week. Sanchez obviously in goal. Gusto, Fofana, Colwill, James, Caicedo, Lavia, Palmer, Madueke, Neto, Jackson. I know this sounds really silly to say it about Chelsea, but that's a team That's a team. It looks like a team more than it has done for 2 years. Todd Bowley's chaotic recruitment policy, which has never made any sense, actually, under Maresca, he's gone and done the thing that I think is really important. He's built a team. And I think that the midfield and the attack and the defence actually, and it's demonstrated by how good they've been in possession with the ball this season, is that they seem to have more of a vision. They seem to have more ability to get results, and they're scoring a lot of goals, and they're very clinical as well. And, you know, cold Palmer, clinical Palmer, I'd call him. I think he's very clinical with his passing, with his finishing. He's very reliable. And I do worry about this game. I mean, I should have said it at the start. I don't think we're going to win. Jinx Bridge, hopefully. I don't think we're going to win this game. I don't see us winning the game, which is why I really wanted Amorim to come in. I mean, Chelsea, I think, have scored more goals than anybody away from home this season. I think they've got 11 goals. They're definitely going to score. We've only scored 3 at home. We've won 2 and lost 2 at home. So, I mean, that, to me, is just incredible. I mean, how have we only scored 3 goals in 4 home games? 2 against Brentford, 1 against Fulham, none against Liverpool, none against Spurs. Yeah, it's right. It is right. So, yeah, I think I'm not kidded by the 5 goals against Leicester reserves. That doesn't make me think we're going to go and score 4 goals against Chelsea. I'd like us to. But that, I suppose, is the problem with this game. We're stepping into the unknown with Manchester United on Sunday. I think there will be a reaction. But will the shine go now? Rude had his first game. We've had the manager bounce. We'll take our foot off the pedal a little bit now. You know what it is? Trust. Do you trust these players to go and deliver a scintillating, dominating performance against Chelsea on Sunday? Or do you think they did that again on Wednesday against Leicester reserves and will probably drop off a little bit now because it's harder? I don't know. I hope they're going to keep the foot on the pedal because I suspect Amorim will be in the crowd on Sunday. I mean, whether he can do that or not, I don't know, because obviously Sporting play Man City on Tuesday, but there are rumours that could happen. He'll certainly be watching it on the TV. So these players are on trial. So hopefully that will instigate more effort and more desire and more performance from them. So I think it's a really difficult game to predict. I was going to go with a Chelsea win, actually. And I do think that is a possibility. But I'm going to go with a draw. I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw. I mean, I don't like giving actual scores, but I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw. I fancy us to score, but I definitely fancy us to concede. And I think that I've seen Chelsea play a few times this season, Wolves away, West Ham away, and they are very good at counter-attacking. In fact, Liverpool did a very clever thing at Anfield where they let Chelsea sort of attack them and countered them. Which some Liverpool fans weren't comfortable with, but you won the game. They're very good on the counter, Chelsea, and I think we've got to be very careful about that. And what worries me is Ruud van Nistelrooy in what his audition, could he get carried away with, well, I'm not going to sit back and counter, I want to entertain, so I'm going to open up a little bit, and that might play into Chelsea's hands, who obviously they're coming into this game in a better form than we are. So, but we can't afford to lose, you know. We can't. I don't think a draw helps us. I mean, these are opportunities. I'm looking at that Premier League table and Ten Hag's gone. He's out of here. So if Man United were to lose against Chelsea, we could actually drop down the table. So it's a massive, massive game, and I don't think there's anything more we can do this week. Ten Hag has been moved on. Amorim is coming in, but he's not coming in for this game. So you could argue that it's beneficial that he's not coming in for this game because it is a very difficult one. But in the context of our season, it's not one we can afford to lose. I mean, you literally can't be 9 points behind Chelsea and expect to catch them. And that'll be the scenario if they win the game. So we've got to get something out of it. We've got to win. I don't care how we win. I mean, if we win 4-0, fantastically, brilliant. But if we win by a dodgy penalty or something like that, then obviously that will do. I think the most important thing for our season at the moment is to gather some momentum. It's not even momentum. It's like we're falling down the rock surface. We need to just dig our hook in and just pull ourselves up a few metres, and I think, or just hold ground. And I think that's why we need to get something against Chelsea. But it will be very difficult, and obviously they lost to Newcastle last night as well, so they'll be looking for a bit of a bounce back. Crowd's going to be massively important. I think we saw that last night. There is a great relationship between the manager and the crowd, however short this is going to be. But the players on the pitch have got to respond. We've got good enough players, by the way. I mean, I think Rasmus will bring back some, energy up front. Garnacho looked good. Bruno looked revitalised. Casemiro obviously did as well. The back four is strong. We are capable of winning this game. I think we have to win the game, but I'm still going to go with a draw because I just don't trust. That's all it is, trust. I get that there'll be a lot of people in the comments saying, no, the bounce will continue. And I think there's every chance it will. I just don't want to be naive to the fact that we can't necessarily trust these players. And as I said, I suppose the big thing for me is that team sort of picks itself logically. The only contentious issue is whether you would put Rashford on the bench. And I think that's a big issue, you know. I genuinely think that Ahmad might be back on the bench because it's easier. But I think in relation to the balance of the team, you're not actually... the reason Rashford's on the bench for me is because I'm actually valuing what he is, a left winger. And at the moment, I think Garnacho deserves to start ahead of him, but I'd certainly be looking to bring him on in his best position. I've heard a lot of people talking about Rashford, actually, probably because it's his birthday, but I've heard a lot of people talking about Rashford saying he's done under Amorim. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I still think that, you know, people say sell Luke Shaw. You can't sell Luke Shaw. He's injury prone. So you have to live in a reality. And when I look at Rashford, I think Amorim will be trying to get the best out of him because he's unsellable. Like, we've given him a massive contract and we don't want to sell him and he doesn't want to leave. And it's problematic to Amorim to just have him on the bench all the time. You know, every press conference is going to be about that. So I do think we will see Amorim trying to get the best out of him in some way, shape or form. Whether you're on board with that or not, whether you agree with that or not is completely separate. But I'm not expecting some discarding of Marcus Rashford because I just think he's too intrinsic, like Bruno Fernandes, to the future of this football club. And I think Amorim will have to accommodate that. And I think he'd probably be happily looking to accommodate that, to be honest. Maybe he'll play him as a striker. Maybe play him off the striker. But I think he will utilise him because there is no other alternative. It's not as simple as, his contract's about to come to an end in the summer or you can sell him off at a loss. I think he will be part of this project, and again we'll be hoping that he can perform in it. Just my 2 pennies worth. Anyway, make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe. Are you happy with that team? What would your front three be? Get in the comments for that. And also, what are your score predictions? Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. And yes, how confident are you for the game? I'll speak to you a little bit. We've got Rude's presser coming up in a couple of hours as well, so get ready for that. Speak to you in a bit.